Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. Before we get started, just want to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Just before we get started, just want to, Councillor Sticalo's online, so we full council here, and we have a delegation online that will be coming up very shortly. First resolution moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that our regular meeting agenda for today's meeting be amended. We have two additions to the agenda. Item 5A1, outstanding water bill accounts that are added to taxes, and 10A, bylaw 042024, with a bylaw related to the purpose of appointing Robert Dodds as special constable, the first reading of that bylaw. All those in favor of that amendment? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you. And moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Daly, be resolved that we accept the new agenda as amended. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. One other item before we get into the delegation, moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that Council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of our regular Council meeting from June the 10th. Any items of interest or questions, comments regarding the June 10th meeting from members of Council? Seeing none, call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the delegation from Pam Workington, Project Manager at Take Action on Radon. So Pam, I'll turn it over to you. Welcome. I know that you're from far away, but please feel free. Unless, Lisa, is there anything you need to introduce the presentation?
No, I just wanted to welcome Pam. She and I have been working very closely together since we launched our Take Action on Radon 100 Test Kit Challenge campaign in November. And I just really appreciate all of the assistance she's provided so far as we work through this process, and very happy to see her here today to reveal the results of the community report from the testing, from all of the free test kits that we gave out to the community. So I really welcome Pam here today, and very interested in sharing this important message. Thank you, Pam. Go right ahead.
Great. Thanks so much, Lisa. And as I start, I would like to say I am from a little ways away, but not too far. I'm coming from Winnipeg, or Treaty 1 territory, and Dauphin has a special place in my heart. Not only I'm a Manitoba born and raised, my husband's from Swan River, so I've been to Dauphin as we've driven through many times, but also Dauphin is really the source of my journey that got me into radon. I met a family that were impacted by lung cancer that really has inspired me to advocate for this. So just wanted to acknowledge that before I begin. So I work with Take Action on Radon. It's an initiative that is funded by Health Canada, and part of our project is to raise awareness on radon across the country. And the 100 Test Kit Challenge program is one of our initiatives. It's a program that allows us to work with communities such as yourself. It's a turnkey program that provides tools and resources for each step of our project. It is free to communities, but it does require staff time to be able to help us with connecting with community participants, to organize, distribute the test kits. And so we really want to thank Lisa and her team for the support that they provided us so that we could have a successful project in the community. Just before I go along, I should check to make sure you can see my screen. Is it showing okay?
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is a project that we have been running for over 6 years across the country. We have run it in over 120 communities, 10 provinces, 5 First Nations, and with 2 Métis groups. We've been able to distribute over 20,000 detectors with an average return rate of 74%, which you'll see that the project in Dauphin, we were quite close to that. We've been able to test more than 14,000 homes across the country. And those little dots on the map are the projects that we have tested, and the numbers reference the number of test kits per province we've been able to distribute. And we have been able to previously work with the RM of Dauphin as well. So we've also been able to survey past participants across the project after the first few years and realize that about 30% of those who had tested above 200 had mitigated their homes already. And so we do continue to improve resources to help support the increase of that number. We'd like to see all people who test their homes over 200 mitigate their home. Over the last year, the 6th year of this project, these are the communities that we worked with. So you can see there is other Manitoba neighboring communities that we were also to work with, but also communities from across the country. So just quickly, for a backgrounder of radon, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer for people who don't smoke. It greatly increases the risk of those who do have any smoking history. It is linked to lung cancer, so that's the only known cause. However, it is linked directly. So it's a class 1 carcinogen, and the IARC has linked it directly to radon or to lung cancer as a source. And Health Canada estimates over 3,000 Canadians per year are dying of radon-related lung cancer. Now, radon comes from our soil, so it's in the soil all across our country. It starts as uranium, and then as uranium eventually decays, it becomes radon. And radon is a gas, so it moves up out of the soil, and it enters any building that has contact with the soil. Typically, the highest levels are found in the basement or the ground contact floor, but it can move up through the building. So in our homes, any level can have high levels. Health Canada recommends people test during the heating season with a 3-month test, and that if any levels are found to be above 200, that they be reduced to as low as possible. So this part of the project, we have participants have received or should have received their test report. These reports are sent to each individual participant, and then we'll roll up the data, and that's part of the project today that I will share with you is the summary data. For the project in Dauphin, we had about 199 detectors distributed, and we were able to see 151 people start the tests, 129 completed the online surveys, but we were able to interact with 139 people to be able to complete the reports. So to date, we've seen over 139 people have finished their testing, and they should have received their report with about 70% completion rate. For anyone who did receive a test and hasn't started them, or maybe they've started them but haven't returned them yet, they can mail them directly to our offices. The information is easily available from us, or it's on the information or the instruction sheet that was included with the test kit. So those tests can still be used. If they haven't opened them yet, then our recommendation really is to test during the heating season so they can wait for this fall, open them up, use them for the 3 months, and then mail them back to us at that point. And so from the 139 detectors, reports that were issued, you can see on the report that 92% of the homes tested above the 200 guideline. And so we've shown the data on the pie chart here so that the green are the number of homes and reports that were tested below 100. Yellow are the ones that tested between 100 and 200. Red are the ones that tested between 200 and 600. So we had 36% tested between 200 and 600. Purple are the reports that were above 600 to up to 1,000. And so we had 27% in that range. And then black are the ones that were above the 1,000. And we had almost 29% tested above 1,000. And so becquerels per meter cubed is the measurement that we use for measuring radon. And again, Health Canada recommends that all homes be below the 200 level. So I'm just going to dig into a little bit more of the data that we found. So as part of the project, we had optional surveys that people could complete. And some of them were on the housing characteristics. So we saw that most of the homes that participated in the project were single detached homes. And most of the participants were owners of their homes. However, there were a couple renters, and I did want to draw attention to this, that it is really important for renters to be able to receive some support since they do need to communicate with their landlords. So we have actually interacted with at least one of the renters to connect them with residential tenancy. And we ourselves have also reached out to residential tenancy to try and provide some support. According to Manitoba Residential Tenancy, radon is included in the things that a landlord must deal with to provide a safe environment for their tenants. Another question that we ask is if people had previously tested for radon. So you can see that there was quite a number of people that had, or a handful of people that had previously tested, but the majority of people had not tested previously. And then we also ask if they had any existing mitigation systems or radon control measures. And so there were a couple people that had radon mitigation systems. And you'll notice that there were a couple that had mitigation systems that actually tested above the 200 guideline level. And so we just wanted to draw attention to this as well, that when somebody mitigates and reduces their radon level, they do need to test after the mitigation to make sure it was effective. And we do have a list of certified professionals. So we do recommend that when people mitigate, they look for someone who's a certified professional to ensure that they are installing it to standards. And then there's also a certification program that provide them with accountability so that they can reach out for support as well. So most homes didn't have any radon mitigation measures. Another question we ask is about the year of construction. So the top line are people who either didn't know or didn't provide the year of construction, but then you can see the different decades across, and you can see by all the decades that there were homes that tested above guideline. And many that still tested lower. And so as we do this, ask this question across the country on our surveys, we find that there is high and low levels typically across all decades. And so really one of our key messages is that it is in all ages of homes. You can't predict whether a new home is going to have it or an old home. All ages of homes do need to be tested for radon. And so most of this, the data is really just provided for you and for Lisa and her team. We do, though, have a public-facing report, and this is the public report that we will be posting online and sharing out to participants. And it just provides a simple summary of the homes that were tested. So it talks about the 139 homes, 92% of the homes that were tested above the 200 level. So we just simplify the graph so that red represents the ones that were above 200, yellow again between 1 and 200, and then green were below 100. So the first page is a community-specific report that talks about this project. The second page is a real general information that provides people basic information of where they can go now to purchase a test kit, where they can find information about mitigation, and the fact is that it is effective, where they can find a certified professional, and then also information about Health Canada's recommendations of action levels. And some information about the Manitoba Building Code and the fact that even with the rough-in, people still need to test their home for radon to know what the levels are. And then we also have been doing this in other communities throughout Manitoba. So you can see that Dauphin is not the only area that has high levels of radon. There are other areas in the province with a number of homes that have tested above the 200 level. These are recent surveys that we've conducted as part of our 100 Test Kit Challenge project over the last 6 years. There is also other historical data that is available for the province of Manitoba to show that we do have high levels all across our province. So again, Dauphin's not the only community that has a number of homes that are high. There's also historical reports that provide recommendations that the province should let citizens know in the communities where they found high levels of what the levels are. I talked previously about a certification program, and CNRPP is our national certification program. There is a list of professionals online that people can search either by province or by postal code to help find a mitigation professional. And then there also is a mitigation grant program available. So this is actually started in Manitoba, but it's a national grant that's available through the Canadian Lung Association called Lungs Matter. And people can apply now that they have a long-term test report, they can use that. So it must be a 91 days or longer test report using a passive detector such as an alpha track. Then they would need to submit that along with a quote from a mitigation CNRPP certified mitigation professional, and then confirmation that they qualify for the grant. And so in order to qualify, you need to be in the low to moderate income according to the StatsCan median income. And then, or they could also, if there is somebody in the home that has a lung cancer diagnosis, that also automatically qualifies. So that is also available. It's a $1,500 grant that does need to be applied before people start the radon mitigation. And we have reached out to Revenue Canada to find out if there are tax credits available, and there is no tax credits currently available for radon mitigation. However, there is a tax credit for people who purchase radon measurements and use their home for work. So if they already claim maintenance expenses as part of work from home or workspace expenses, then they can include radon measurement costs in that maintenance expense. And then the other thing I wanted to draw attention to is that Health Canada has developed radon action guides for municipalities. And so these are available online. We've provided a bit of a checklist that I've shared in the slides with some simple ideas of things that municipalities can do. So again, thank you very much for providing me time to share this with you. I certainly am available if you have any questions.
Pam, I don't know if this is even a relevant kind of question, but I'm wondering, is there any mapping data available to, I know we're at 90%, it's like literally everywhere in our community, but I'm just wondering if you had any correlation or did any analysis of where the highest scores were, and are they in a particular neighborhood or part of our community, or is it spread out throughout?
Yeah, so this is something that we get questions quite often for, so we do this. We don't share it publicly just because we like to protect people's homes and their specific radon levels. But when we did take a look at it, we saw that there was no particular area that had high levels. You could see one mark with a low level, and then the house next door might have been a higher level. And so really even similar homes right in close proximity could have a low levels or a high levels, and they were distributed. So we not only know that we did have tests that were distributed throughout the community, but also the levels were distributed. So there was no specific area with high levels.
Thanks for that. Any member of council have a question or comment for Pam? There doesn't appear to be any questions. I'd like to thank you for working with Lisa, and thank Lisa for working with you on gathering this. And I'm certain that Councillor Bellemare.
Sorry, I just thought of a question. Okay, so obviously there's going to be some publicity about these results because, I mean, they are pretty astounding, 92% and quite a big sample size. So for people who are interested in testing their radon in their house, what are their next steps? Do they contact you, or what do they do?
So there are tests available for purchase. They can use similar ones that we used in the study, which are one-use tests where they can place them and leave them for the 3 months and then return them. There also are digital monitors that are available. There's a list on the CNRPP website of devices that we have audited and reviewed to make sure that they are actually accurate. We do have a warning not to purchase ones that aren't on the list, as Amazon does have a number of devices, unfortunately, that have been coming out recently that do not accurately test. So they can purchase one that's on our list. We also are available. So if people have questions, we certainly are supportive of that, and do want to encourage people to test whether they, again, we do recommend during the heating season, although if they buy a digital monitor, they can certainly put it in place and then leave it throughout the year.
So I just wanted to make a note about radon, in that it's interesting that unlike lead in drinking water, which is created by lead service lines, or can be created by lead service lines, radon is in the environment. So it's not something that's caused by the municipality. And I've had people reaching out to me from Health Canada, Sandy Hutchinson and yourself reaching out to try to come up with an action plan. But the province has been very quiet on this. And my understanding is that the province has been aware of high radon levels in our area since back in 1990. And yet we don't hear from public health, we don't hear from the province reaching out to us. And really, I think the province needs to step up to change the building code to enforce radon mitigation. They need to make changes to the Tenancies Act to protect the rights of tenants in our community. So there's a number of changes that they could make and offer incentives and subsidies to help people in our community. So I'm really hoping the province will also step forward to really help us out because these numbers are very concerning.
Thanks, Lisa. So thanks very much, Pam. I'm assuming that this is an ongoing thing for you, that with the number of tests that haven't been returned, some of them will probably never be, but so there's still an opportunity. So I'm certain as well. Lisa is like a dog with a bone sometimes when she gets onto something, and with this radon project, I know she's done a lot of work, to make sure the community was aware of it and the tests route and everything else. So I want to thank her for her efforts and you for providing the report today. And if there's nothing else from council, I'd like to again thank you. And I'm sure that Lisa and the city will continue to be in touch as we continue to work on this issue. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time and again, your attention to this. And yes, we are here to support those who still have tests and all citizens in the Dauphin and Manitoba area. So thanks so much.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on now to the consent agenda. We've got a couple of action items. We have a couple of outstanding water accounts. Roll 0011400, $56.49. The owner did not pay their final utility bill. And roll number 0208200, $234.89. The previous tenant did not pay the final utility bill. And that's recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility Clerk. And we have one filing item, and that's from Manitoba Municipal Northern Relations, the 2024 operating grant. So moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray, be resolved that all items listed in red under 5, the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Daly, be resolved that the financial accounts, having been examined by council, be authorized and approved as follows. We had 86 checks in the recent run for a total of $530,399.98. There were no voided checks. There were no voided checks in the current or past range, and we had no electronic payments. Questions or comments before we ask for the question? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be resolved that we accept as information the staff report from the building inspector for the month of May. Questions or comments regarding the building inspector's report? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that we accept as information the Protective Services report, and that's from the Animal Control Officer, and that's for the month of May 2024. Any questions or comments regarding this report? Lisa has a question. No, I would suggest maybe a comment.
I have just something to note, and that is that today is Todd Tarrant's last day with us as the city's Animal Control Officer. And I would like to express our gratitude to Todd for 18 years of service in this role. Todd has touched the lives of many animals in Dauphin and made friends with pet owners along the way. And we sincerely wish him the very best in the next chapter of his work life. So thank you to Todd.
Thank you, Lisa. Any other questions or comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray, be resolved that we accept this information. Minutes from the following committee. We received the Regular board meeting minutes from the Dauphin Rec Services, and that's May 29th. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes, or comments from any of the council members on that board? No? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? None? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas at the regular council meeting February 12th, council gave third reading to bylaw 06/2023 to adopt a new City of Dauphin development plan, which sets out the vision for development in Dauphin through policy statements that address the physical, social, environmental, and economic objectives of our city. And whereas City of Dauphin zoning bylaw 04/2015 requires review and updating to comply with the new city plan, and whereas the city released an RFP to secure a planning consultant to undertake the preparation of a new zoning bylaw in accordance with the scope and services outlined in the RFP terms of reference, published on the MERC's public site, that tendering closed on June the 3rd. Be resolved that council accepts as information a memo dated June 19th from our building inspector advising that the city received proposals from 2 firms and that the RFP for the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw review be awarded to Urban Systems for a cost of $50,000 plus taxes and any advertising costs. Further be resolved that council agrees with the building inspector's recommendation and awards the RFP to Urban Systems, and that this contract between the city and Urban Systems be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobring, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas on May 1st, 2024, the City of Dauphin released an RFP for the provision of city animal services, which closed on May the 31st. Be it resolved that council accepts as information a memo dated June 20th from the Deputy City Manager advising the city that we received 3 valid proposals for the provision of animal services and recommending that the RFP be awarded to Barkland in the Parkland Pet Resort and Crematorium under the supervision of David McInnes for a monthly cost of $6,850 plus taxes. Further be resolved that council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation, awarding the RFP to Barkland and authorizes a 3-year contract between the city and Barkland be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. Yeah, a very neat proposal and certainly an interesting direction moving forward. So great to see. As I was reading through the stuff, I was just thinking wildlife in the city is also part of this contract. So will that sort of be the same process that's been used in the past? Did you want to speak to that, Lisa?
Sure. We have kind of developed, as you know, we're kind of revamping our animal services to be more progressive and proactive, and our approach to wildlife really reflects that. And we really want to try to encourage our residents to coexist as peacefully as possible with our urban wildlife. So while our new animal services provider will be able to take calls with concerns about wildlife, the approach might be a little bit different. There will be less trapping and less destruction and more guidance on how we can coexist with the raccoons and the foxes and the crows and the pigeons that we might encounter in our urban environment.
Any other questions or comments? Lisa?
I thought I'd just note that Barkland will be starting their contract on July 1st. And at that time, we will also be opening our animal retention center space at Barkland. And this will be for dogs and cats who are lost, found, and seized. And I just wanted to thank the public for their patience. I realize the pound has been closed since January 1st. And I know that at times it may have seemed that nothing was happening. However, quite the opposite was the case. And there was a lot going on behind the scenes as we really tried to put all the moving parts together to make an animal services program that will work really well going forward. So we are launching the Animal Retention Center on July 1st, And we're also launching new city animal services Facebook page and Instagram pages. And so please keep an eye out for a post tomorrow that will be giving you more information about the changes in our animal services offerings and how you can like and follow our new social media accounts. Thank you.
Call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Whereas the overpopulation of dogs and cats has become a crisis for municipalities, shelters and rescues, and animal welfare advocates across Manitoba, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memo dated June 20th from the Deputy City Manager proposing a city subsidized spay and neuter assistance program as the first initiative in the city's more proactive and progressive approach to animal services. So based on a voucher system with 2 partnering local veterinarian clinics, Dauphin Veterinary Clinic and Uptown Pet Clinic, will be open to everyone who requires financial assistance with spay or neuter for their dog or cat. Applicants must show proof of Dauphin residency and current pet license rabies vaccination. The city covers 50% to a maximum of $175 for female dogs and $125 for male dogs, and the city covers 50% to a maximum of $125 for female cats and $75 for male cats, and the city offers up to a maximum of $10,000 per year already approved by council as part of the 2024 financial plan to the spay, neuter, and neuter assistance program, which is called SNAP. Further be resolved that council agrees with the deputy city manager's recommendation and approves the SNAP program as outlined to encourage a responsible pet ownership and to help to alleviate the overpopulation of dogs and cats in our community. Before we call for the question, can I ask Councillor Daly, just being on the Vet Services Board, is there any brief overview you'd like to provide that other municipalities are doing similar?
All the municipalities on the board have bought into this. Mossy River's already started. Grandview already sort of had one on the go for a couple of years. But, you know, Gilbert Plains, Armagh Dauphin, I wasn't sure. Their rep was certain it would go, but we haven't formally heard back from her. But everybody else, Lakeshore and everybody else is on board. So that was good. That everybody agreed they would offer the same level of service as well, so that people weren't thinking about having to go one place or the other, because it would all be the same. So everybody's on the same page, and tomorrow I'm at a regional vet board meeting in Minnedosa, where I'm sure that will be topic of conversation as well.
Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments from any members of council about this program? Councillor Ray?
Yeah, I'm just thinking in the inaugural year that this takes place, do we, like we've set aside a maximum of $10,000. Now, what happens if we go over that amount, or if there's more? Like in my calculations, that amounts to about 33 dogs and 33 cats. So I'm just thinking in the first year, that might be the year that we have quite a few people come in, and I'd hate to turn people away.
Right, so the plan is to budget for 10,000, and once we max out on that, then that's the end of the program for the year, but it will certainly affect our budgeting and planning for the next year. We feel that we had a larger uptake on it, then that will go to budget deliberations in the spring to consider whether that number needs to be adjusted.
I'm not going to jump out of turn or anything, but I'm saying that council does have abilities to bring issues up and have discussions. So I think that, again, if there's a very aggressive or a very positive response to the program and we see the value in it, I'm certain that we could have discussions down the road on what might we do about that if that time comes. So Lisa gave the Coles notes, the answer they're supposed to be given. So good job, Lisa. And the mayor jumps in and says, well, maybe, just in case, if something good happens. So anyhow, call for the question. All those in favor, please indicate. Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Good work on that, both Councillor Daly and Lisa. I know there's a lot of work gone into this whole animal services, topic. It's been a concern for a long time, and I want to, again, just offer my congratulations for the work that you've done so far to get us to this point, and hopefully, as we move forward, it is a very progressive response to the issues facing us. Next item, moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas in the spring of 2024, Dauphin has seen significantly more pavement damage than anticipated in the city's capital planning in the fall of 2023, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memo dated June 14th from the Director of Public Works and Operations advising that the Engineering Services Supervisor and Public Works Foreman have identified the following streets which require additional repairs at an estimated cost of $298,212, broken down as follows: Vermilion Street from Forest Avenue West to Brown Avenue West, $25,427. Heatherly Street from Davidson Avenue West northerly to the lane, $19,447. Sandy Street from Forest Avenue West to Brown Avenue West, $63,252. Bond Street from Forest Avenue East to Brown Avenue East, $44,420. Merrill Avenue from Mountain Road to Bond, total of $70,689. Boston's Avenue from Dorothy to Elmay for $67,903. And Ida Street from Whitmore to Lilly for a total of $51,948. Further be resolved that Council agrees with the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and Operations and approves these additional road repairs in 2024 as outlined for the estimated amount and to be drawn from the gas tax reserve. Questions or comments? Or Mike, is there anything you wanted to add regarding this? I know you presented at the last meeting, so I think we're fairly clear on the need for this. No questions? Call for the question then on the resolution. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Sticalo, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Whereas as part of the province's cost-sharing larviciding program, which is 75% provincial and 25% municipal, Manitoba provides funding to municipalities to conduct targeted larviciding aimed to lower the population of Culex tarsalis, the primary vector of West Nile. And whereas Manitoba Health Seniors and Long-Term Care has approved funding up to $5,050.69 for approved mosquito control activities in Dauphin to reduce the risk of human exposure to West Nile, which represents 75% of the city's pre-approved amount of $6,734.25, be resolved that Council accepts as information a service purchase agreement effective April 1, 2024 to March 31st, 2025 between the Government of Manitoba and the City of Dauphin, outlining the respective rights and obligations of the city's participation in the West Nile virus program. Further be resolved that Council authorizes the service purchase agreement contract that the City of Dauphin to provide the larviciding services as part of the West Nile program to be signed and sealed by the City Manager on behalf of the City. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sticalo, whereas the Association of Manitoba Municipalities solicits resolutions from municipalities to help them determine priority issues for lobbying and advocacy. And whereas in June of each year, municipalities within their own districts review and approve resolutions to be forwarded to the convention in November. And whereas at their regular meeting of April 15th, Council approved a Category 1 resolution entitled Tax Exemption for all municipally owned land containing critical municipal infrastructure, which will be reviewed at the Parkland District meeting on June 25th. And whereas Council supports other municipalities' resolutions through approval and co-sponsorship, be it resolved that Council accepts as info a memo from the Deputy City Manager recommending support of the following resolution. And that's from the City of Selkirk, and the review and revision of the Municipal Board mandate, role, function, and practices. Further be resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves the following resolution to be forwarded to the AMM. And it reads, whereas the Municipal Board Act, the Municipal Act, the Planning Act, and other legislation sets out the mandate, role, function, and general practice of the Municipal Board, and whereas the province recognizes municipalities as a mature order of government, And whereas municipalities are experiencing significant and costly delays as a result of outdated, bureaucratic, paternalistic, and wasteful processes in their interactions with the municipal board as prescribed in the legislation and the regulation. And whereas these delays and processes generate valueless workloads for municipal administration and wasted tax dollars due to redundant work, higher interest rates or borrowing, unnecessary legal fees, and delayed procurement. And whereas the province has demonstrated an interest in reducing red tape and improving efficiency and effectiveness of municipalities by creating the Municipal Service Delivery Improvement Program, which provides financial support to complete value for money service delivery reviews of programs and services to improve service delivery, streamline functions, and find cost efficiencies, be it resolved that the AMM lobby the province to undertake a comprehensive review of the mandate, role, and function of the municipal board to evaluate its relevance and actual value in today's municipal sector. Further be resolved that the province complete a third-party value for money service delivery review of the municipal board processes and undertakes process improvements to streamline its functions, red tape, and reduce municipal costs. Further be resolved that the province engage AMM and the MMA to participate as key stakeholders in the preparation of terms of reference for these efforts and any steering or oversight body for this work. Questions or comments? Sean, are you okay? All right. Call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. I'm not going to comment on the length there, the lack of brevity in some of these resolutions today. I just have a cold and it's going to be tough reading the next one. Another long one. Here we go. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, so we can maybe point at him, and seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Point at her. Whereas the Association of Manitoba Municipalities solicits resolutions from municipalities to help them determine priority issues for lobbying and advocacy. And whereas in June of each year, municipalities review and approve resolutions. And whereas at the regular meeting of April 15th, Council approved a Category 1 resolution entitled Tax Exemption for All Municipally Owned Land Containing Municipal Infrastructure, and reviewed by the AMM Parkland District meeting on June 25th, and whereas Council can support other municipalities' resolutions, be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memo dated June 20th from the Deputy City Manager recommending support for the following resolution proposed by the City of Selkirk, modernizing of retail beer vendor regulations. Be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves the following resolution in support of the City of Selkirk. Whereas Regulation 61/2014, the liquor licensing regulation, sets out the requirements for operation of retail beer vendors, and whereas the regulation limits the issuance of retail beer vendor licenses to the operators of a co-located hotel, and whereas in municipalities and often in urban centers, this limitation encourages operators to artificially retain and keep open outdated, poorly maintained accommodations solely for the purpose of maintaining their beer vendor license. And whereas these locations can contribute to community blight and increased incidents of crime, and therefore the need for policing. And whereas municipalities bear the burden of community safety, aesthetics, and bylaw costs, and in many cases, the majority of these rapidly increasing costs of policing. And whereas more modern changes to legislation and regulations have permitted standalone retail wine and cannabis vendors, but do not place similar requirements for the provision of accommodations, be resolved that the AMM lobby the province to amend the liquor licensing regulation to permit the operation of retail beer vendors in municipalities without the requirement to operate accommodations. Further be resolved that the province worked with AMM and the Manitoba Hotel Association to assure this change does not impact the economic viability of rural hotels. Questions or comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be it resolved that bylaw 04-2024, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin for the purpose of appointing Robert Dodds as Special Constable be read now a first time. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that we accept as information following community events: the Ag Fair and Parade, June 28th to the 30th, Country Fest, June 28th to the 30th, and the Canada Day fireworks celebration on July the 1st. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information that Councillors' reports for the regular Council meeting of June the 24th. And let's start with Councillor Bellemare, since she brought this motion forward. How about that for mixing things up?
I knew it was going to be me. Okay, council work on the 11th, I attended the Riverside Cemetery AGM, which was the first time in quite some time, and several people besides the board members attended. And there was a great conversation about future possibilities at the cemetery, and things are moving forward there quite nicely. On June 15th and 19th, I attended the memorial at CN Park for the bus accident victims, plus the commemoration of the plaque correcting the 9 misspellings on the cenotaph. Both were meaningfully done and well organized. I appreciate that our community takes the initiative to give honor to people and does it so well. So thank you for that. The 17th was the Planning and Priorities meeting. The 20th was Communities in Bloom, where we received updates on current planning and supplier things. And people will notice that planters and hangers are being filled with flowers this week. If people want to sponsor planters on Main Street, that opportunity is available, and just check with Janelle at the office. And then I was at a Riverside Cemetery meeting earlier today where we discussed a wide variety of events. And then tomorrow is the AGM at the Watson, and the board is looking for people who are willing to assist on the executive and subcommittees or even on a volunteer basis, so check that out. And Thursday at lunchtime is a barbecue at the CN station, and for the money that is raised at that barbecue, Westman Cable will match that. And all of that money will go towards the Watson's initiative to get air conditioning in that building. So certainly there's a community interest. So make sure you eat a hot dog or 2 or 3 or 5 in support of air conditioning at the Watson. And also, too, we had a thank you barbecue for employees on June the 13th to officially say thank you, but I think our employees, we like to remind our employees that they are appreciated year-round. And I'd like to thank Deputy City Manager Lisa Gaudette for her work on the animal services file over the last several months and developing that innovative contract with Barkland. So our community will be a better place for animals in the days ahead, and I thank you for that. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare and Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. June 10th, I attended the last regular council meeting. On the 13th, I spent lunch hour at the city shop cooking burgers for the public service week barbecue. On the 14th, I joined the mayor for a tour of the Smile Zone renovations at the hospital, and what a beautiful job they've done there. June 15th, I attended the memorial unveiling held at CN Park for the victims of last year's accident near Carberry. On the 17th, I attended the Planning and Priorities meeting held here in Council Chambers. And on the 19th, I was present also at the Legion unveiling service for the additional memorial plaque. And it's nice to see those names finally corrected. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Councillor Ray. Councillor Daly, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the June 10th regular council meeting. On the 13th, I also attended the employee barbecue at the shop and enjoyed one of Councillor Ray's hot dogs. On the 15th, I attended the memorial service as well, which was extremely tasteful and well done. And then on the 17th, the priority and planning meeting. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Stakilo, you ready to give your report?
You bet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, June 10th, a regular council meeting. I too was in attendance at the June 15th memorial and the 1-year remembrance of the bus crash victims. And on June 17th, the planning and priority meeting, I was in attendance for that as well. And as noted, this weekend coming up, there's several events going on. These are some of the key events that Dauphin is proud to host. And I encourage everyone to try to get to all of them or part of all of them. And if not, just, some of them. So it's a great time that we showcase our city, and we're really looking forward to everybody that attends and to show off our great city. So with that, that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Sticalo. Deputy Mayor Laughlin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. For me, June 10th, the regular council meeting here at City Hall. I too, on June 13th, attended the barbecue at the city shop to celebrate Public Services Week. The 15th, I too was in the crowd at the memorial service for the 1-year anniversary of the Carberry bus crash. On the 17th, Planning and Priorities meeting here at City Hall. On the 20th, Communities in Bloom meeting here at City Hall as well. Tomorrow, I'll be headed to Swan River to represent the city at the AMM June District meeting. And as well, I'd like to actually say congratulations to all the grads in the Parkland from this past weekend, as well as here in Dauphin. It was great to see the kids and their parents from both the city and rural municipality enjoying the Dauphin rec facilities during the celebration on Saturday night in the curling rink. So again, congratulations to all the grads. And lastly, of course, like Councillor Sticalo mentioned, good luck to Country Fest and the Dauphin Fair this upcoming weekend. And that ends my report.
Thank you. And Councillor Sobring.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I was at the June 10th regular council meeting, followed by the June 17th planning priorities meeting. I did also attend the June 15th first year anniversary of the Carberry bus accident. And it was very well done and actually well attended. It was a really nice coming together of the community. It feels like a lot of time has passed, but at the same time, it just feels like almost yesterday. I attended a Dauphin District Handy Van meeting, Riverside Cemetery meeting today, again with Councillor Bellemare, where work proceeds. And I appreciate everybody's patience as we start to work on really leveling up the facilities and the grounds. And I just wanted to commend Deputy City Manager on the work done on the renewal of the Animal Services Program in its entirety. It was really well done. It's an excellent example of your tax dollars at work, just kind of problem solving and just modernizing a lot of the things that probably aren't as exciting on the outset, but are really provide value in the long term. Just want to wish everybody a good weekend as they enjoy all the festivals and festivities going on in Dauphin, and also congrats to all the grads. So that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Sobring. And I'll just echo what everyone has said. It's the start of the summer season, usually with grad, and so the events coming up, certainly. And again, just to provide my personal comments on all the work that was done by the volunteers and the city staff that worked on the June 15th memorial event. I think a lot of energy and effort went into that, and you could tell. And I want to also acknowledge the others, folks that were involved in making it a tremendous event. And I also would like to acknowledge the provincial government for their support. I know the Premier was here, Minister Naylor was here, our MLA, Ron Kosteshin, was here, and it was great to spend a little bit of time with them as well, because every time they come to our community, there's always time for chats about other things that are happening and coming forward from a provincial and a political level. So again, I just want to acknowledge the time that I personally had to spend with the Premier and Minister Kosteshin talking about a couple of things that are probably going to be very interesting for us down the road. And again, acknowledge the community coming out and supporting the community at the event on the 15th. So with that, I'd like to call for the question. I'm all in favor of council reports. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. And moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Bellemare, be resolved that council meeting be recessed at 6:55 p.m. All in favor?